Welcome to the first webinar in the Travel Daily and Cruise Weekly exclusive series with Crystal Cruises. We're back in 2019 for the three-part series, and this time we're in Auckland. We will speak to Karen Christensen, Crystal's Senior Vice President and Managing Director for Australasia, who has invited us to look around the recently refurbished Crystal Serenity. We're going to explore the term luxury and how it is realised by Crystal. Can you walk me through how Crystal defines luxury?
Sure. Look, this has been a tough question to answer over the years, and in particular over various brands that I've worked for. But I think Crystal have nailed it in terms of being able to deliver a multi-generational option in the luxury space, where we can provide staterooms with verandas for families that don't want the butlers and the suite accommodation, but everybody's treated equally with how we service or provide a personalised luxury experience. And it's so difficult to define for individuals, it's because it's not one thing fits all. For an example, for me, time at the moment is a luxury. Whereas if I was retired, perhaps not worrying how long I'm at sea, a butler with a suite would be perfect. So what Crystal has to do is make it as personalised as an individual as possible. And I think this will come through as we go through our day-to-day, as we've just launched our new brand campaign, where Crystal is trying to clearly define luxury really is personal. Jasmine, I think you would agree that this campaign truly shows the heartfelt experience that we're trying to deliver for each individual, and that our goal is to make it as personalised and unique experience as we can possibly bring to each individual that comes on board.
Is there one thing you think that sets Crystal apart in the luxury space?
Crystal has long been known for its high level of service, delivered by the crew who greet every person by name and pride themselves in knowing it as quickly as they possibly come on board. Beyond the suite sizes and the fine details of our Michelin-inspired cuisine, fine dining on board, French champagne, our philosophy of luxury is rooted in individuality of each of our guests. I truly believe that luxury is a very personalised thing, and that Crystal really is determined to deliver that personalised experience for each individual traveller.
Virtuoso's 2018 Lux Report found that luxury travellers have a deeper desire for a level of personalisation and for one-of-a-kind experiences. Is Crystal hearing this from their guests?
Yes, they're pretty accurate. People have evolved. The demographic is younger. People are wanting something that's unique to them, something that's not just a cookie cutter out of the box. And I think it's absolutely spot on what this report is saying. And very much it's our customer, our Crystal customer, that decides what happens to this brand, and things like the reimagination that we're looking at today.
In the same report, Virtuoso identified 2019 as a year of ultra-personalised travel. Now, you speak about personalisation, but how does Crystal provide this for their guests?
Personalisation today hits at the source of the individuality of our guests and their travel desires. Whether luxury to one guest means simply spending time with the family, or thrill-seeking adventure with the loved one, perhaps they simply want the very best gourmet experience we can offer them. Sitting at Nobu's Umi Uma every other night, or perhaps enjoying the vintage room experience, where they'll be served some of the rarest vintage wines with a degustation menu. Crystal's standard of service is also very personalised. All our crew and European butlers pride themselves on making our guests feel extremely special. Personalisation is about feeling remembered and not forgotten. Perhaps designing your own time is another example of a personalised Crystal experience. Our dedicated concierge team can assist you to quite literally design a tailor-made time in each one of the destinations you go to.
So when you first experienced a Crystal cruise, what was your first impression?
Well, for me it was probably the space, that feeling of openness. Everyone perhaps may have a perception that Crystal at 1,000 passengers is a big ship. In today's business it's certainly not. We would have, if not one of the highest space ratios per guest in the luxury space. In other words, more elbow room per passenger than most. But I think also for me it was just this overwhelming quality of service and personalisation, and the way you felt when you walked on the ship. It really felt very homely, very friendly, very mod, very trendy, but just elegant. It was just amazing.
For those who have clients who are looking at top suites on premium cruise lines, what would be your advice for pitching a Crystal cruise as an alternative?
Oh, Jasmine, you really are trying to get me in trouble today with this one. And I have been asked it before, so you're not the first. And I'll try and answer it as fairly as I can, because I think there's a product out there for everybody, without a doubt. But the question that you're asking me is, if they're selling a suite on a premium product, is that really a luxury experience? Well, I think that's the question to be asked by to the traveller, because you could absolutely be selling a suite that is a true luxury suite on a premium product, but are they getting the full all-inclusive luxury experience throughout the rest of the product? Now, that's not what everybody wants, but that is the question that needs to be defined and to be asked, because it's about putting the right people on the right product. So personally, ask that question, and is it a suite they're after on a premium product, or is it a suite they're after on a all-inclusive luxury product? And if you're selling a suite to a premium product to a guest already, you more than likely have a Crystal guest sitting right in front of you, and you just have to ask that one other detailed question that I've just suggested, and you may find there's your Crystal passenger. If we take a look at Crystal as an all-inclusive brand, this is going to give your clients a peace of mind that whilst they've booked a luxury experience, they're not going to have any surprises as it comes along at the end of the day. So they've got minimal additional onboard charges like shore excursions or spa treatments. But what it does mean is when they're standing at the bar, they can happily have whatever they want, go home, and they don't have to sign for it at the end of the day. And this is what luxury is about. It's that no money, no nonsense, handling on board, and people are just relaxed.
So what's included when you book with Crystal?
There's not much that's not. I mean, once you pay your ticket price, the only additional things you will pay for are shore excursions on the ocean ships, on river and yacht. Some of those are already included, so you don't pay additional on those. But fine wines, bottled water, specialty coffees, specialty restaurants, you all get to try them at least once. If you go back to Nobu, there'll be a small minimal charge. Wi-Fi's included, gratuities are included.
And what would you say is Crystal's most luxurious experience?
You know, things like taking 2 ships out of your fleet. Little Crystal Esprit, that's 62 passengers, and Crystal Serenity that we're on, both going to be in Monaco during the Monaco Grand Prix. But it's what we do with our guests shoreside, where we take them to some behind the scenes, not to be purchased anywhere else unless you're on board those ships experiences. You're in Monaco, rich and famous, you go and lose your money at the Casino Royale. So these things are all brought to people because of the vessels, because they're going in on a Crystal ship. Maybe you want to do a MMIG fighter jet experience and fly over Moscow. Not for me, but maybe for some. If we look at Crystal River in 2020, you could go and do the Oberammergau Passion Play, which only comes along once every 10 years. So it's quite unique and quite amazing. And again, access through a Crystal River experience. We also include the finest hotels shoreside as well. This is just 3 examples of many, many. We have the most amazing man in John Stoll that has been with us for, oh, he won't want me to say because it'll make him sound old, but this man is an absolute talent, and these shoreside experiences are all built on relationships, personalisation and uniqueness, and he does it well for the entire Crystal fleet.
Wow, that's quite a unique selection.
It is, and it needs to be, and this is what Crystal is all about. Personalisation, individuality, and delivering luxury to as many people as we possibly can. But come on, I think we should go and have a look at a new Sea Breeze suite, and I think you'll get a feel for how well this reimagination has gone.
Well, this suite looks beautiful. Can you talk me through the highlights of the reimagination?
Oh, for sure. It is stunning though, don't you think? A little nice spot to be, home away from home. The reimagination is multi-million dollars, as you can imagine, and parts of the ship you've already seen. But it's about keeping the fleet consistent. We reimagined Crystal Symphony in November 2017, so with only having the 2 ocean ships, it's important that our delivery on both the ships be as equal as they possibly can be in terms of public facilities, suite accommodation, the onboard ambience, the luxury touches. So it was important, and so by doing Serenity now, both those are the same in terms of we've got open seating dining in the main dining room. We have additional specialty restaurants where we've got Silk, we've got Trescaria, which is the Brazilian steakhouse. So we've got these other amenities that we've brought on in terms of restaurants, but also shows that we've changed because we've changed the entertainment in Galaxy around and Stardust as well.
So the Seabreeze Penthouse and Penthouse Suites are new categories for Crystal. Why did the company decide to make that change?
We've added 36 new Seabreeze suites and 2 Seabreeze Penthouse suites. Having the new category of Seabreeze Penthouse just give us these, they have great space per square footage. So guest to space ratio in them, they're very roomy. They've got beautiful walk-in closets, what I call a dual bathroom, and what I mean by that is the shower is at one end and the toilet's at the other with dual sinks in the middle. They've got all the amenities you can possibly imagine within in terms of technology, but also, you know, those little elegant touches of a pillow menu so that you have to sail at least 7 nights to use each one of the pillow options on board. Coffee machines, they're stunning, and they've just brought in another demographic or evolution of suite category to the existing suites that we already had on board, but just with a bit of a touch and difference and to a demand that the customer wants.
So this effectively decreases the ship's capacity, is that correct?
Yes, it has, but we had to reduce the capacity as well to go back to having a single seating main dining room, which was important in the expectations of it being in the luxury arena. But it takes us from a 1,070 passenger ship to a 980 passenger ship, but we did not reduce any crew. So therefore we actually have more crew per person now than we did before with the reimagination. In addition to that, we have more space per person, so the space ratio to guests is higher. So if anyone hasn't done their clear training, that's basically more elbow room per person on board.
So what you're telling me is there's more people to serve champagne and more places to sit and have that champagne?
Absolutely, with lots of space, with lots of space.
So you mentioned Silk earlier. What are the new dining options on board?
Well, we've added dining, so why don't we recap the entire dining options, and then I won't miss anything because there's quite a few now. So let's go back to 24-hour room service in your suite that you're currently in. And then we've got Silk that I mentioned, which is an Asian fusion, which is fantastic. We've also got Marketplace, which is through the day, which is the most amazing array of cold, hot food choices, purpose-cooked choices, whatever you like. But at night that becomes Trescaria, which is a Brazilian steakhouse. You know the concept where they come to the table and they shave your porks and your chickens. But I would say take your time and eat very slowly, because if you go too hard too soon, you're not going to get through any of it. That's important. Main dining room, as we talked about, is single seating now, but renamed Waterside. We've also got the vintage room, which is where you can go and have a degustation menu with vintage wines paired. And we also have Prego, which is the Italian option. Prego has the most sensational mushroom soup. And then we've got, of course, Umi Uma, which is renamed, which is our Nobu restaurant renamed. It was used to be called Silk Road, but we have Silk, not to be confused with Silk Road, and we still have Nobu.
But I spotted a Ben & Jerry's upstairs.
You did, good pick up, but you didn't just spot it, didn't you have one? And then also, don't forget, we started the day with a coffee in the bistro, so that's another option. So, I don't know, I can't count them all up, but you can clearly see there's a great deal of options on board.
Entertainment can be a highlight of the cruise for many travellers. Are there any new entertainment offerings on Crystal Serenity?
Yeah, there are, because it's an important part of people's holidays, and if you don't have good entertainment on ships in the luxury space, it can be really a downfall on your product. So we're quite proud of our entertainment. With Crystal Serenity's reimagination, and we're now with the Stardust Club, where we're going to be serving food and beverage service, like a 4-course menu from the Waterside dining room, whilst they're enjoying a show as well. And that show will be the music around the Frank Sinatra era and that sort of thing. But also we do have the Galaxy Lounge, where we do Broadway style shows. So there's something in those two main entertainment venues that's a bit different for everyone. and that you can go between the two when they're doing the performances. So it's a good option for people.
Connectivity and high-tech features are no longer regarded as extras, and for some guests are seen as essential. How does Crystal address this?
It is absolutely essential because we're just in an age now where some people still like to read a newspaper, but a lot of people want it on a tablet, and they want the daily chronicles on tablets. But also you have to have the speed on the ships in terms of Wi-Fi and technology. So when we did the reimagination, there was a great deal of investment put into the technology side of it in terms of in-suite TVs with multi-number of movies that you can, I don't think you ever work your way through. Perhaps on the World Cruise you might, but then also in the show lounges, they had the technology, they had the change to be able to do these most magnificent entertainments. But Crystal have always been a bit of a leader in the way in terms of their onboard learning centre. That's been something that the brand has been recognised with for a long time. A fantastic computer centre where you can go and whilst you're cruising learn how to speak multiple languages, become a photographer of sorts at the end. Computer classes, the name thing, but it is all about speed of the technology, and I believe with this last reimagination and the investment that we've nailed that, and people will be most impressed with what they can achieve when they're on board.
Karen, thank you for having me on board Crystal Serenity today and showing me her reimagination. It was really interesting delving into what today's luxury traveller wants.
I hope you enjoyed it and it's been fun, but let's not waste it. Thanks again.